Georgia, Florida in Jacksonville. Georgia continues to stress everyone out. So I was on the flight from Dallas back to Atlanta watching the game. And before we took off, the pilot came out and he came up to me and said, "Hey, you watching the Georgia game?" I'm like, "Yes, of course I'm watching the Georgia game." He said, "Damn it, I'm not going to be able to watch." I was like, "I hope not, because you need to fly us back."
Hey, buddy, I can sit right behind you and tell you. I can let you know.
Yeah, like, I'll tell the stewardess to kind of let you know what the score is if you need me to. But he's like, "Dude, I'm just so stressed out." Like I'm like, "Yes, we all are going to be stressed out." And I said it last week, and I posted a social media clip about it. This is Georgia this year. They are going to freak you out for 4 quarters. It's gonna be fun though. Like, this is football. I said this I spoke at the Jacksonville Touchdown Club or Bulldog Club on Thursday. And I was like, yes, we all like to walk into the fourth quarter and know the game's over. But also, like, man, if I spent money on a game, like, I want to be entertained for 4 quarters. And you're getting pure entertainment when you watch the Dogs each and every week. And this past game was no different, as they found a way to climb back and win the game in the fourth quarter against Florida.
It is a crazy team. And it's kind of weird because it's a little like Miami a year ago. Like, they just love to fly near that sun, and they're just going to stay right there, make it weird. And one day, who knows? You might get a little too close. You might get burned, but they won't die, man. They're physical as all get out. They trust that. They own that. They know that. But I will say, admittedly so, if y'all watched our show last week, I'm a little disappointed in this game. I thought this would be a chance where Georgia could flex those muscles, where they could run the ball like crazy.
It's a good roster.
I thought you had a better one. I thought you'd show that. And it is what it is. It is what it is. And I get it, that environment.
At what point do you just have to say, like, Georgia is who they are? Like, you can't just – I think there's this ultimate hope of, like, okay, Kirby's going to get the defense out of the rut. And the defense played better, even with the injuries. I mean, they were out, like, 2 safeties, out of starting defensive linemen. They were not full strength on that side of the football. I thought DJ Lagway was horrendous once again. Footwork was atrocious. Just he needs to just get through this season and figure out what the hell is going on and actually be healthy for an entire offseason. That way he can progress as a quarterback. But the defense did play a little bit better, no doubt about it. And also, Florida was without their top 2 receivers as well. So, like, who knows what could have happened if both those guys were in there. But, like, at some point, you just have to say, like, Georgia is who they are. It's a good team. It's a gutsy team. It's a team that plays all 4 quarters. They have a quarterback that is an absolute dog right now. I mean, Gunner is a freaking man-child. I love him more and more and more every single week. For those watching the game, the interception, not his fault. Got to catch the football. But he's just such a gutsy performer. When plays need to be had, he is there to make them. And I think that is when you get into later in the season, when you get into the playoffs, to know that you have that guy back there that has now led you to comeback victories against your big-time rival Florida, against Ole Miss, against Tennessee on the road in Knoxville, and has only started 10 games in his career. Mm-hmm. That is wild to think about, the comebacks that he has put together so early on in his playing career.
And I mean, there is something to a battle-tested team. Like, I mean, you run into a Ohio State who hasn't been battle-tested and doesn't know, although they might be better, and maybe they are the number 1 team. But if it's a dogfight, they literally have nothing to pull from. They don't know. They don't know how to take it to that next level from the experiences that they have had. That will serve Georgia favorably. I mean, when you get into that situation and something they can lean on, and some of the coaches can sit there and say, like, boys, hey, we've been here 4 or 5 times already. We're good. We know what we do. We know how we get down. And so there is something to that. But you're right. I have this wishful thinking that Georgia's just going to turn it on and take it to another level. But you're right. It just might be who they are. I mean, 0 sacks, only had 2 TFLs. It's not the Georgia defense that I've been so accustomed to over the last, 5, 6, 7 years of what they've been able to do. And, they're still finding a way. You're number 5 in the country right now. You're 7-1. You're a heck of a team that won't die.
But I will say this, like, I don't think there's a lot of teams that are better than Georgia. I think, like, they're in this kind of next phase after, like there's a big three. It kind of feels like it's, and we'll get to this when we get to our top 12, but it kind of feels like it's Ohio State, Indiana, A&M. And then kind of there's like that tier. And then there's kind of like the next tier, and Georgia's part of that next tier, like upper to the top of that next tier. Yeah. Obviously, they took Alabama to 4 quarters and had an opportunity without, maybe the missed catch. You can say what you want. I'm sure Alabama fans like, well, we had missed opportunities too. But, I think they obviously can beat Alabama, no doubt about it. Are they good enough to beat A&M, Indiana, Ohio State? That's going to be the question. And then they're going to get that opportunity most likely in the playoffs against one of those teams, or if they find themselves against maybe A&M in the SEC championship somehow, depending on how Alabama finishes off their season. So they are still good enough to win out. They're still good enough to win a championship, but they ain't going to be blowing anyone out.
Yeah.
That is just not in their DNA.
What it looks like. It's what it looks like.
But it doesn't make it. But what's in, like, I think that's the confusing part for fans is it doesn't make them a bad football team.
Though. No.
It doesn't make it, just because you ain't beating people the way Ohio State's beating people doesn't make you a bad football team. And it doesn't mean that you can't beat A&M, Indiana, or Ohio State. Games are all about matchups.
Absolutely. This year more than ever, I feel like, this playoff coming up.
Yes. So I'm good. Florida, your thoughts on them? And I mean, 3-5 now. I mean, like, is this a team that do you think they're even going to make the postseason? At Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State to finish it off, they got to win 3 of those 4 games.
No, absolutely
5-7. God.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. No, they won't be in the postseason. I think the interesting thing is how quickly can you get this head coaching search done? How much of your roster can you retain? And then, of course, the added pieces that you want to go out and get. I mean, that's what I'm so fascinated, just to tie it back real quick to this, coaching, change at Auburn. That's what I'm so fascinated in seeing, that we touched on a little bit with Jimbo Fisher. I truly believe we might see some playoff team coaches walk away.
It's going to be weird.
Go to these new play. I mean, it's going to be baffling, man. It's going to be crazy to sit here and see. And just again, with all this turnover, all these coaches leaving, I won't even call it poaching, but whatever it is, the transfer portal talent opportunity is at an all-time high potential with all these changes, just because all these teams that are losing people are loaded with talented players.
It is going to be the craziest offseason of our freaking lives.
Yeah.
Dogs, though, stay alive right there in the playoff hunt. You said number 5 in the AP. We'll see where they land in our top 12 teams for our first playoff prediction this